cmpradio.net, the voice of Chester.
AP, you can hear me?
What's up, family? How you feeling today, man? cmpradio.net, man. We are live from the Cultivated Mature Positivity Studio. You already know, man. It's Uncle P. I'm live in the place. Community optimist. Always looking at the brighter side of life, right? Never worried about what you did, what you didn't do. You feel me? We can move on from that. Shout out to our sponsors, man. Major shout out to our sponsors. We have Mecca, Mosley Early Childhood Consultant and Advising, MO2B, right? Mind Our Own Business, KC Electric Services, LeBron Construction, Northern Marketing and Design, Pressure Inc., and of course, you already know, man, the Cat Center, Chester's Cat Center, Cultural Arts and Technology Center. Listen, man, they're sponsors of the radio station. You can also be a sponsor of the radio station. If you have a product and you want me to promote it, hit me up. If you have music out, listen, music, DJs, man, send me your music, info@cmpradio.net. Let's make sure we're making sure that our sound is getting out there for everyone to hear us. And this is the only place to do that, right? cmpradio.net. So let's go. I have two guests with me today. And listen, man, when I got the call for the interview, I'm be honest, I didn't know who they were, what they did, but we're about to find out right now. I have two brothers with me. I have Brandon Hilliard, right, the state director of Blexit Delaware chapter, and I have Anton Gist, right, assistant state director of the Pennsylvania Blexit chapter. Now, Blexit, everybody wants to know, what is the Blexit Foundation? But before we get into that, I want to ask these fellas how they feeling this week, man. How you doing, fellas?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. I'm blessed. Had a great week. This weather woke me up a little bit this morning. It was a little chilly.
Yeah, it's supposed to.
But I'm doing great.
Chill on your spine real quick. Wake you up a little bit. How you feeling, Brandon?
Super well. Likewise, lots of travel. We just got back from St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, wow.
I was extending a little bit with a friend, but like Anton just said, with all this wind and just a change in temperatures, it's been a little abrasive, but I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Absolutely. And the conversation we will have, we're going to get right into it, man. I don't know what Blexit is, right? I'm sure a lot of people listening to the show do not know what Blexit is. So it sounds a little bit like Brexit, over there in the UK. British was exiting from how they spend their money. Yeah. But now, it's Blexit. So I need you to explain to me exactly what it is.
Sure thing.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and talk about Blexit is it's a movement, it's a foundation targeting the minority community in the inner cities. I felt like Blexit was something that I needed to be a part of, but I'm just going to give you guys just a brief statement of what our mission statement is. Blexit is organized and operated exclusively for the tax exemption purposes in accordance with the 501c3. It's an internal revenue code. More especially, Blexit focuses on the African American communities, particularly in urban areas, to teach Americans founding principles and American history, to promote educational choices, opportunities in low income and disadvantaged children and youth, to develop entrepreneurship as a means of escaping poverty, and to enhance work skills and enable current and future generations of African American to become self-reliant as an alternative to government dependency.
Yeah, it's super fantastic. So as you were just saying a little bit earlier about Brexit versus Blexit, so pretty much the thing that the founders, Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum, some of you all listening may know of them, some of you all may not. They started the organization initially just as Antoine said, a movement to wake minority communities, primarily Black America, up that we don't need big government as the end all be all. We came from places in history and of course in time where it was community based. It was us serving one another.
Yeah.
You know, where everyone has a certain need, and if someone's able to make and meet that need, stepping to the plate and serving. So our pillars that we have the organization built and founded on, the vision is that it wants to change the narrative that surrounds America's minority communities with a particular focus on African Americans. We believe that there are 5 primary program areas, and Blexit Foundation must engage to accomplish the vision. The first of the 5 is advocating for school choice and alternative educational opportunities for America's low-income and minority children. The second pillar is promoting criminal justice reform and for those impacted by the penal system and developing educational programs to help communities avoid incarceration. The third pillar is championing entrepreneurship and free enterprise as keys to escaping government dependence and poverty. The fourth is developing history programs that will inspire minority children to succeed and lead productive and responsible lives. The fifth is presenting the message of Blexit through evocative visual art and compelling live experiences. An example of a live experience would be like the rally that we just got back from in St. Louis, Missouri on the 12th.
That's so what were you doing in St. Louis?
Yeah, so in St. Louis, we had a couple people throughout the organization. So initially when it had started, and I believe it was around November 2019, it didn't have state chapters, but there's another gentleman, his name is Pierre Wilson. I believe he's from North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But he ended up stepping up to the plate and wanted to change and transform the organization into something where there's chapters in every state. So you had a couple of people that were in leadership roles, whether it be state directors, assistant state directors, media directors that flew out to Missouri. We all volunteered to pretty much get this rally in motion. So there was about 5 or 6 guest speakers that we had, pretty much sharing not only testimonies of their own, things that are currently happening in our society and our culture, things that we need to, of course, be aware of, and how we can be actionable despite the time. So there's probably, I think, maybe around like 200, 300 people that probably had attended.
Yeah, the rallies were massive. Their goal is, well, Blexit is a fairly new nonprofit, and it's been going around for about this will be the 3rd year. And these rallies are meant to galvanize the community, bring people together. Blexit has about 41 chapters across the country and about 14,000 volunteers.
Wow. So,
and mostly in minority communities, we try to go out and, volunteer. But today, when we just came back from St. Louis, we had so many people from all over just volunteering, the different speakers. It's almost like it's one big party it's one big family reunion. With social media, we wind up speaking to each other, through Facebook, Instagram, and things of that nature. So we finally got to meet up, and they're actually going to do them about 4 or 5 a month. Well, 5 a year, 5 a year.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So who are the founders of Blexit?
So the founders are Candace Owens and Pierre Wilson. And Pierre Wilson is really the head of the grassroots organization, the boots on the ground, going out into the communities, giving us the materials and the resources that we can go out there. Candace Owens is more or less the figurehead of the organization.
Right. Absolutely. I feel like you need a mom and a pop. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In any organization, anything going on, anything for the community, you need that mom and dad kind of like feel about it, right? Because, women look at things differently and men look at things differently.
Right.
Two men is just going to look the way we want it to look, right? But with a man and a woman at the helm, you feel me, it can flex both ways. So what is your organization's mission? I know you mentioned it a little bit before, but like, what is your mission?
Well, in almost in a nutshell, you see we have these shirts that say "We the Free," right? Yeah. Now, we want to make sure that, especially targeting young people, that they're free to make good decisions. Yeah. They're free to make, decisions that maybe their peers are not making. It's okay to go out there instead of, doing something devious or mischievous. It's okay for you to stay home and study. It's okay if you want to be a little bit of a maverick in a positive way, where it's okay if you decide that you want to focus on science, on arithmetic, if you want to do something that's a little bit of the norm. Right now we have a lot of violence throughout our country, and Blexit has a lot of different initiatives that, we're going to target on a certain aspect that the urban and inner city needs to, develop and work with. So they have problem solving coming up in April, which I'm really excited about. And that's going to kind of, influence the community to find other alternative means into finding, instead of shooting someone, instead of, committing an act of violence, that they can go out and maybe talk it out, or maybe walk through another problem, something similar to that. And entrepreneurship is another pillar that's very important in the inner city and African American community. So we want to make sure we are influencing young people and the general public to take that first step to get that LLC. I see you talk about that a lot on your show.
Absolutely.
And to be self-sufficient and to step away from, being relying on the government. We're so reliant on the government right now that the government is telling us what to do, and we're just doing it. Right. Yeah. And I don't mean to get off on a tangent, because again, this is Blexit, not Antoine Exit. Right. But the thing that I love about Blexit is they get behind the people, they get behind individuality, and right now we have a thing with these. We were just at a rally in Valley Forge, and I didn't see any minorities but me speaking. I stuck out so bad. I was the only black person out there, and they was like, "Hey, why don't you get on this microphone and speak?" And I'm like, "Okay." Right. And just that, but just that push. Because a lot of us, there weren't any of us out there because we feel like we have to go along with this, right? So with Blexit, I feel as though, they're actually saying to minorities, hey, you know what? You don't have to do this. We'll get behind you. And it's been a kind of bit of a silent movement that some people are realizing, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this. I don't particularly care for it. The government shouldn't tell me what I should do and should not do, and again, that's my opinion, not Blex's opinion.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of that opinion, it's interesting. So with myself, it was probably around 2020 when I first woke up. Like, I wouldn't even say woke up. Really, it was a lot of dots connecting of things that I feel like was uncovered a little bit in my past. Right. So the deception is real. I'm like, there's just so much stuff that's going on in our society that's a farce, coming from media, from top down. And this stuff, it's specifically my, opinion, though I am really glad that Blexit exists because it's a platform where I feel like certain things can kind of go hand in hand. So a little bit just about like my journey. I'm not going to go too deep into it just now, but I realized something was up and I wanted to figure out how can I be actionable about this? How can I put stuff into practice? So, and also how can I lead by example? So once I came across Blexit and other things like Walkaway Foundation, I realized that there's a lot of people that not only look like me, that think like me, people that have had similar backgrounds and upbringing, especially when it comes to like the church and things like that, and realizing that this stuff, it's not right. You know, the government pretty much wants to make itself like a god and wants to try to lead people in whichever way it wants them to go. Right. And Jesus himself, he says, again, when you know the truth, you'll know the truth, it will make you free. So I think that we're living in this society where people, they don't actually know the truth because it's being concealed and withheld from them by government, media, things like that to control them. So how are they going to be free unless they know the truth? And I think that we're really living in this information warfare, and it's like strong battle against our minds. Right. So I think with Blexit having that specifically as their motto is fantastic. Lead the free, because we are awake, we are free. Our minds are not going to be captivated by media, not by whatever these politicians want us to do. And when we see corruption, when we see wickedness, we're going to call it out. You know, we seek accountability, but we also know that if there's a need that needs to be met, again, we're going to meet those needs. We're going to do what we need to do.
So, you know, for the layman watching this right now, they could be saying, like, is this an anti-government movement, right? Because we keep bringing up government not having control over this. So I need you to explain, you know, what this movement truly is.
Okay, so when we say we're not anti-government, we're about a small government.
Yes.
Okay.
The government with the government overreach,
right.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
We don't want the overreach.
Right.
Government is supposed to be small. Yeah. You know, the people are supposed to run the government.
Absolutely.
Not the government run the people. And that's what's going on. And, you know, when you have almost like where the herd is going one way. Right. And the herd is being directed, you know, by the government. Now, if you look back, you're told not to look back. Right. You're told, don't you go back. We're going to go. Once you go this way, we want you guys to think a certain way, you know, vote a certain way. We want you to eat a certain way. We want you to take certain things. And, you know, it's okay not to. Right. You know, because this is America. This is where people, the land of free. Right. People are breaking their necks to get over here. Absolutely. You know, because we have that freedom. Yeah. And I don't mean to, you know, quote Ronald Reagan, but Ronald Reagan said, freedom is a generation away from losing. You're a generation away from losing freedom. Yeah. And, you know, that's what Blexit is all about, is just free thinking and being your own person. So we're about the government, but small government. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And empowering the people. Yeah. And that's really the critical thing, one of the critical building blocks with Blexit. Yeah. Okay. All right. I just want to say real quick, Brandon is an awesome dude. This is my second time physically meeting Brandon. Okay. You know, we connected at the rally, and I think we talked on the phone, and I said, you know what? I know a guy. You know, everybody knows a guy, and I said, I know a guy named CMP. I said, I know a guy. We can probably connect, and because he's in Delaware and I'm in PA, and I felt like there's no better way to do charity than charity at home. Absolutely. Yeah. And there's no need for me to go out in Kensington and in the Badlands, and you know, there's people in my own community that I can help. And the same thing with Brandon. Before you reach out to help others, you have to help home first. Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, home will have your back. Yeah. Right, so, you know, I don't care how long it takes for me to wake home up. I'm gonna be here. You feel me? I'm not doing this for money. I'm not trying to get rich, right? But the radio station does need contributions to continue to carry on, and that's why I'm starting a nonprofit, right? And I'm understanding the ways we have to go, you know, to continue to get that support. Right. We have to talk to people. We have to bring people in. People have to come to the radio station, or we can do StreamYard, whatever, however that works. But we have to be ferocious in our attack for information, to give information to. And we have to be engaging. Right. Absolutely. You know, we have to be engaging, and fear is that big block that a lot of us seem to let. You know, it's almost like it's an invisible block that we just let block our way, our path, and our engagement with one another. Because if I believe that you don't, you know, if I think you don't like me, I'm not going to talk to you at all. Right. And that's just within the community, you know, and that's like a learning lesson that we need to make sure it's passed down to the younger generation, because that's one of the reasons why I believe we have so much violence, because we don't look at each other as helpmates, as friends, as partners.
Yeah.
You know.
Give us some background on yourself. You know, me and Anton, we've talked before, right? It wasn't until the Razorthon that we actually worked together. You know, you gave out book bags at the Razorthon, which was a dope situation. You know, I truly appreciate you for that. But give me some background information on you guys that makes this whole Blexit situation work for you.
Okay. You want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. So I'm 28 years old. So I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania when I was probably 3 or something like that. We moved to Delaware because my youngest sibling, was also about to be born. So I have another sister who's younger than I am. She has high functioning autism. Okay. So growing up in the house, it was the tradition of faith that my mom's mom, so my grandmother, she pretty much passed down to her. My mom, of course, cultivated in us, because even though both my parents, they're married, brokenness is one of the things that really can affect humans. My father is one of those people, nonetheless, that, you know, had been affected and wrestled with some of those things. So as you had said, JP, that when we don't work on home, whether even be internally home, but also the people in our community, the people behind us, right, when that stuff's not taken care of in order, you know, we're not going to be effective. So pretty much long story short, after I went away to college, moved back here to Delaware 2018, I was working at the Apple store in the mall. I was pretty much flowing with the ways that the world was going and stuff. I was struggling with identity, lots of other personal things too, and just wasn't secure in myself and really my purpose, my calling. So once 2020 came around, I had some personal things happening in my household. I had fire that built inside of a trash can. There was all the smoke damage in my bedroom. Thankfully, the house didn't burn down or anything like that, but it was a really pressing time, and I didn't really know, especially, you know, at the moment, what God was doing. But I was realizing that he was trying to take me out of the things that I was in, more so like workplace things like that, because he needed to bring me to a place where I could speak freely about the things that are going on. Because like I had said earlier, some of these things were dots that were connected like 10 years in the making, especially the influence in Hollywood, subliminal messaging, things like that. I was aware of some of this stuff, but I didn't have all my dots connected. So as the riots, which initially at first I thought, okay, I could see where people are coming from, but it's like, why are we only acting this way, and why can't we talk about it? You know, why can't we think critically? And I just felt that the way that thought was being controlled, it was being silenced, stifled, it was just really bizarre and weird. So I just wanted to do something about it. So 2021 comes around, and it was the month of May, and I think it was completely honestly, like Holy Spirit kind of speaking to me that was like, reach out to Blexit Foundation, see if you could bring this chapter into Delaware and get it active. So I ended up reaching out. I know that it was going to need a couple people to start things up. So I had prayed into it, and God, he revealed some names to me and things like that. So even though it was a little bit of a process before we officially launched our chapter December of 2021, our first event was in January of this year. It was, I think, truly God's provision. You know, I think that wisdom and power and, of course, understanding comes from him. And for those that have a hunger for the truth, that have hunger for righteousness, he'll give that. So I think with me, and as you were saying, fear, it's like an invisible wall. It took a lot with me to realize, wow, my reputation's an idol. Like, I'm so afraid of what people are about to say about me, that may be wanting to belittle me. But Jesus himself says, again, do not fear men who can only destroy the body, but fear he who destroys both body and soul in hell. And that really woke me up. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do what I need to do. I want to really lead people in love, lead them in the truth, but be an example, because this stuff that's going on should not be the way. Again, with my personal experience, not having like my father present in my home, especially as I would have liked. Now as a young adult, wanting to get into dating and marriage and, you know, thinking about those things, it's like I can't even talk to my father about this stuff because he hasn't been there in my life, and it sucks. And no, especially black boy, black girl, I'm just imagining myself as a young person should have to go through that type of stuff. It's like, this isn't what God desires for his creation. But that's just me in a nutshell. What about you?
Yo, you are a very biblical person too. I've watched some of your material. This brother can like quote some Bible verses. I very much admire that. So I'm glad you're on our team. Me personally, my mission to Blexit, a little background. I have a prior military background, so I believe in this country. I also believe in the power of working together.
Yeah.
And I also was a retail store manager in the area, Granite Run. So I know a lot of these people in the area from Granite Run Mall. I used to run the underground station in there, and that was the heyday of mine. And just in those two work environments, I realized I had a passion for people and engaging and working with people. And then I unfortunately was shot not too long ago, and I kind of got into a little shell and trying to dig myself out of it, and I didn't like the violence overall afterwards. So I decided I wanted to do something, so I created Run for Peace clothing, and I realized, I said, you know what, this is good. This is good therapy for me, but what can I do on a bigger scale? How can I affect change? How can I get involved on a bigger scale? Because if anybody's an entrepreneur out here, to be alone by yourself is like a grind. It's almost like you're on a little man on an island, and you got one paddle, and that paddle is broken sometimes. So I was like, how can I do something that can affect change on a bigger level? So I actually told my story to Daphne. Daphne was the late state director of our Pennsylvania chapter, and I met her on Facebook. And she was, said, well, you should, think about joining Blexit. And that was last year around this time. And I became a member, and then she passed away with COVID, and, they were looking for other members, to someone to step up. So, we got a new state director, Diane Brown, and then, they promoted me to assistant state director. And I was still like, this is good. We were going out into the community, and in December, my cousin was murdered. She was Nadira Harvey. She was murdered in December. A horrific crime. She was shot and burnt in the alley, in Albany. And I didn't want to do anything. I had to hit the wall. Like, I don't want to do nothing. I didn't want to be bothered with community service. I was, how can I help people in the street, and I can't help my own family? Mm-hmm. And that was a devastating loss to me. And I kind of was like in a funk, and I really didn't want to volunteer, and I didn't want to do anything. And I went to St. Louis, and I met David Dorn's wife. I don't know if anyone's familiar with David Dorn, but he was the black security guard who was shot in the riots. He was doing security for a friend. Right. He was retired, and he was murdered. It didn't really get not too much publicity.
What riots are we talking
about? We were talking about the riots in Missouri. Okay. Missouri, and I met his wife this past week, and she kind of like galvanized me, because she joined Blexit. She wants to get out in the community, and she says, doing work in the community is going to alleviate that pain, that sorrow, and you kind of get remotivated into pouring into the community, because grief can really do a number on you. It can lead to depression and a lot of other things. Right. So I thought about that, and I recommitted myself to Blexit. But and then just seeing the things that were going on, I said, what, I can do this. I can implement a change, and God has got my back.
Yeah, absolutely, I love that.
Mm-hmm. What are your organization's goals for this year?
Okay, so I know from talking and some of the panels, we want to grow. Of course, like I said, it's 41 chapters. We want to get all the states covered. Right. All the states covered. We have a chapter in Alaska, and that was the last place I think people would want to do some volunteer work. But in Alaska, So they want to definitely build up membership, get more volunteers, get more active. My chapter alone is growing in itself. I know you're growing as well.
Likewise.
And both of us are brand new to our positions.
Okay.
So we're just excited to grow the nonprofit.
Yeah. And the growth is really great because I'm not sure if you can necessarily relate, but when I first, stepped up to the plate and I was brought on as state director for Delaware, so we have rosters for all of the members in each chapter. So it's surprising because I thought the furthest reach that we had for Blexit Delaware was the people that I, reached out to. But lo and behold, there had been people contacting Blexit, I think like even February of last year. So we had like 60 something people on a roster even before I got the very first roster as a chapter.
Wow.
So the hunger is definitely out there in the country. It's just that people have to find us,
Yeah, people have to find you, man. People definitely have to find you. They have to understand what you're doing. They have to understand what they're doing in life, right?
Yeah.
And reach out for you. So, that's definitely dope. Why are 5 pillars important?
So I'm like specifically 5. I wonder. I don't know. I mean,
Well, because it's a new organization, they have the 5, and I believe that they're definitely going to deviate and expand. But they're like school choice, right? That's one of the pillars. How many of us, here even in Chester, you cross the street and you're in another zip code.
Absolutely.
Your kid isn't able to go to that school, right? So now what we have to do is families have to get together and put their kid in the Cardinal O'Hara because they don't want them to go to the neighborhood school. Yeah. So, one of the Blexit pillars is school choice, which is so important. I could see it in my own family that, hey, we want you to get the best education.
Right.
Not just the subpar education. We want you to get the best education. And this is a shame, but some the better schools are in another county. And that's important. And that's one of, that's important. And then you have the pillars of criminal justice reform, stopping the prison, the public schools to prison highway. That thing is real.
It's definitely real.
It's real. So we want to kind of like stop that.
Right.
Stop that in the tracks. From K to 12, that's when the mind is growing. That's when these kids are sponges.
yeah.
So if we can stop that, we can put it into that, maybe we can make change and there won't be that problem with incarceration so bad.
Yeah, and we already have something in place. So there's what's the full name of it? Blexit Education?
Yes, so there's so many great people that are, with so many different educational backgrounds. We have a lot of teachers on board in different chapters, and we're trying to recruit other, educators. Right. So we even have, right now there's four chapters that have an after school program for mothers, and it's free. It's like we have a couple of chapters that are just doing it completely free. Aftercare, and aftercare can be expensive.
Absolutely.
Aftercare can be very expensive. So right now it started from 4 to 8 o'clock. They teach, they teach history. They do math. Things that they're not just sitting in a corner watching TV.
Yeah.
So that's a big proponent of the 5 pillars. And is trying to, and those 5 pillars, of course, they're going to grow, but we feel like that's the pretty much the spine of the organization.
Mm-hmm. And that's definitely dope, right? Understanding, what you stand on, right? And giving that to the community. What are some of the fun things you guys are doing in Blexit?
Okay, so the fun things. Well, we've done this feels like the whole weekend. These rallies are like a little bit of a treat, or it's like your Super Bowl. So for you guys is volunteer work that you do. We go out, we have fun, we dance. We had a concert. There's a guy, an artist named Bryson Gray, who my nephew loves. He's a positive rapper. And he's good. Right. It's like sometimes you get a positive rapper and they garbage, right? But but he's really good. He has a great message. of faith, family and just being an individual. And we got a chance to hang out with him. We're trying to in the summer we do like these mini block parties where we'll do like a big neighborhood cleanup, which I definitely would like to do here in Chester.
Absolutely.
Where they do like these big neighborhood cleanups, and then it's like the aftermath will be like a block party.
Yeah.
And then we probably got to do a cleanup after that.
Right.
Yeah, so as the years move along, like we're going to be getting into warmer months. I know I'm really looking forward to summer. So like we have the block parties, June, July. We have basically like an initiative every month. It's like a rotating calendar thing, but it's so cool because with every chapter, we're able to kind of conform our events around the community needs. Because what's going on in Delaware is not the same as what's going on in California. What's going on in California is not the same as what's happening in Alaska.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just think the true like diversity that we can really build and that we see in all the people that come, whether it be state events or even again like the rally, I think that's what I find the most fun, and just seeing people really come like as they are. It's authentic, it's genuine.
Yeah, I met a dude from North Philly, all the way in Missouri, and he found out I was from Philly, and he was like, "Yo, how the Eagles doing?" And he was hype about James Harden. We were talking for a while. He was a retired Air Force veteran, and he's like 6'5". This dude was tall, and he was excited that he met someone from Philly. And he said, when he comes here, he wants to volunteer. He has a mother that still lives in North Philly, and I think that was like a real part. That was like one of the highlights of that weekend. But that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I see y'all got some stuff on the table, man.
Oh yeah, this is our swag. Now we usually give this for people for registering, giving email addresses, but we left some gifts for you guys.
I appreciate it.
The water bottles. This is like the fan favorite. Everybody loves this water bottle.
Blexit water bottle. We got a cup holder.
Yep.
Got some glasses.
Yeah.
Right. A keychain. And you got some bags over there with some wristbands on it. So I definitely appreciate all the swag.
Yeah, man. We dropped that off as a gift for you for letting us come out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're always looking to network and connect with other community groups, faith-based groups. One of the things that I'm most proud of that we've done, we've gone out into Kensington, and a lot of people don't want to go out there.
They don't want no smoke.
They don't want no parts of Kensington.
No, none.
And when we tend to like dehumanize people a lot just because of what's being shown on the media.
Yeah.
And once you talking and you engaging with those those individuals who are dealing with addiction, you realize, hey, these are people. Yeah. These are people just like you and me. They just have a affliction that's affecting them in that negative way. So Blexit kind of gives me that power to go out there with a group of other people that, hey, we're going to feed you guys. We're going to make sure you guys have food, and sometimes service is the best way to get any message across.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What type of individuals can join Blexit?
Anybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody and everybody. It seems as though I don't know why, but mostly everybody who joins Blexit has a strong faith, either Christian or Muslim, like people from all scopes, even though, we talk about how we're going to influence the minority community, we have so many different minorities. Like, I don't know if, you've taken a look at Philly lately, but Philly is everything.
Right.
Everybody.
Right.
You have Cambodians, Mexicans, Latinos. We're all minorities, basically, in this, pretty much. So anyone and everyone can join Blexit whenever you go to either one of our rallies or any of our events. It's like a rainbow. We have people from all over the place, all over the city, different races, different backgrounds.
Yeah, and what I want to add with who can join, and of course anyone. So if you're on blexitfoundation.org, there's I believe a tab that says join a chapter. So there's no fee for it or anything like that. You just sign up, choose the state that you want to, of course, join. If you want to maybe do a leadership role, but yeah, completely free.
Yeah,
and all are welcome.
And we have people from, if you offer any type of, service or background, it just makes us stronger. And don't feel like, your skill set isn't needed, because every skill set is needed, because right now we want to affect change. You want to influence the youth, and we have teachers, we have doctors, we have a relationship counselor, a relationship therapist in our chapter. Marie, yeah, awesome woman, and she gives us. She doesn't really give us a lot of relationship advice, but she, I guess she has to charge for that. But she is a dynamite human being, and we have people from all groups and all occupations.
What types of organizations is Blexit looking to partner with?
We're looking to partner with faith-based, because the church is very strong in the community, and people look toward the church.
Not as strong as it was in the past.
I know the church needs to step up.
The church, all religions need to step up.
Yeah.
Right. I believe that religion is a personal journey, so I don't want you out there converting me. But
Right.
Yeah.
If you look at the foundation of all religion, right, helping, being humble, forgiveness is big in those religions. Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's no reason why, if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, if you're Buddhist, if you're Jewish, that you're not out serving your community, right? If it's what would Jesus do, you feel me?
Right.
Honestly, you have to ask that question, and if you want to be like him, or what would Muhammad do, or what would Moses do, or Noah, whoever, you know what I mean? Like, you have to get behind those people and say, listen, they sacrificed.
I'm glad you said that.
Right.
I'm glad you said that, and now because I was thinking it, I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt, or what I remember the church to be.
Right.
But the church took a major L. Most religious institutions took a major step back. And especially in this time of the pandemic and everything.
2001 started it when you signed the whatever you signed with George Bush.
Yes.
That situation where
basically
you want money.
Yeah. Church and state. Church and state went together.
Right. And you can't help. So you cannot become active in your community. Look, you look around. Like there are churches, but there aren't as many active churches in the community. Pastors out in their communities, helping their communities. You understand, and I'm not blaming anyone.
Right, because it's all about accountability too.
I'm not
And individual choices,
fingers at anyone in particular. I'm saying what we need as people, you feel me, is love, is understanding, right? And where else do you find those things but in a church?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, so if you're in church and your church is not active in the community,
Your church is failing.
you're not really in church.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Fully agree.
The church is not about the building.
about
Jesus
the people.
taught us
It's
that.
about the individual of the heart. Yep.
It's about the individual outside saying something to someone that doesn't realize the strength of the power that they have inside of themselves.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So for me, when I was younger, my mom and my dad always thought I would be a preacher, right? A priest.
Right.
My father was Catholic. You feel me? I went to Catholic school K through 8th grade. I realized at a very young age that me giving up this for that wasn't going to work.
Right.
So it didn't work for me. So I went against all rules. I broke all rules, and I ended up going to jail. And when I came home, you know, I took my Shahada. I was Muslim in 1995, you know, and I was young. And I felt like that was a beautiful religion.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like the fact that I have to pray 5 times a day. You know what I'm saying? The fact that I have to be clean. The fact that I can't play around. But then my life got distorted and everything got messed up. So I never really was able to really focus in on that religion the way I did the first year I was in it. And after that, it was like, all right, I have to focus on me.
Yeah.
How do I find who I am, my purpose? And I went through 10 years of trying to figure that out, where I finally sat down, and for the first time I went to a therapist. I sat down and talked. So when you mentioned the lady that she's a therapist, like, therapy works, man.
Yeah.
Literally, it turned my life. It gave me not the whole 360, but that 180 move that I needed.
Yeah.
To look at myself and say, oh, I was tripping.
Yep.
I was about that's not the way I'm supposed to be doing things. What was I thinking about? So, you know, this radio station started because of that therapist visit, right? Where I'm at right now in my life is about, you know, communicating and talking. That's because of the therapist visit. So, you know, before then, I didn't care. You feel me? We were talking earlier about the box that they put men in.
Yes.
That we can't talk about the problems that we have because we're seen by other men as that's female, that's a girl. No, it's not. You're human. You have emotions. You have feelings. If somebody hurts your feelings, why can't you talk about it?
Yeah.
If I talk about it, that makes me a girl? No,
Makes no sense.
You sitting there saying that I'm a girl makes you a girl because you're mad because you can't talk about the same thing that I could talk about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like literally.
Yeah.
So, it goes back and forth and we play with it. But these are the things that harm our community.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
everything that's good is seen as bad, and everything that's bad is seen as good.
Yep.
Right.
You feel me? And everything that's worse is even better. You feel me? It's like,
Right.
what's wrong?
Yeah.
Well, I like this. You feel me? So I think any organization that understands that and reaches out to the faith-based organization and saying, listen, I need you to be more active in the community.
Right.
I need you to do more. You
Yeah.
collecting all this money on Sunday, I need you to pour that back into the community.
Exactly.
Right? I need you to find out which members of you are facing foreclosure, about to lose their house, or about to get evicted, and give that money to them, right? I mean, you have enough.
Yeah.
I would think you would have enough.
Right.
You feel me? But that takes a community to stand up and say, "Stop bullshitting me."
Yeah, because you got
Excuse the foul language.
this is raw radio. But to your point, they were doing a poll on religious institutions for the past 3 years, and they said that it's way down. It's so they can't even explain it, and it's almost a travesty because it's what they've made happen. If you're not teaching the word of God, if you're not actually being a concerned hand on your flock, people feel that.
Right.
People feel that energy.
Right.
So we do want to get involved with faith-based groups. I know we were working with a pastor who was working outside of an RV.
Mm-hmm.
This brother is a young brother and he's hungry. His name is Pastor Phil, and we volunteer with him. And he has a church pretty much in the side on his RV, and he's out there. He works with Phil Abundance, Philly Rock Ministries, and we're just giving out food, and he's ministering to people, praying for them, like in the grit,
Right.
Actually in boots on the ground, dealing with the people, not riding around in
His Cadillac and his
Cadillac.
Mercedes and his Lexus.
Right. So we definitely want to get with groups, and I really love partnering with this guy because I can just feel his heart. I see that he's going in the right direction, but we just want to get involved with groups like that. And have it be in Chester. I hope this will be like a great event where you can give me some opportunity to reach out to those guys too as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm the bad guy right now.
No, not you.
No, not with this interview. I just in the community, right? Because of what this station brings. If you're not used to communication, right, or being held accountable for, and listen, I was not an accountable person. I played, I hurt people's feelings, I destroyed my family, right, for what I wanted. So over the last, I'm not gonna say since the radio station started, but over the last year and a half, I've taken accountability for my actions.
Right.
You feel me? Because I saw how it hurt someone.
Yeah.
You feel me? And I saw how it was hurting me. You feel me? So with accountability, people are going to say things, and it's up to you to not respond in a way like, "Oh man, you hurt my feelings." It's like, that's how you feel? Wow, I never knew that. Right? You have to be able to comprehend what a person is saying to you, and not refrain and start yelling and screaming and hollering.
Yeah,
It's like, damn, I didn't know that. I'm
Right.
sorry. Like literally, I can say that. I can say I'm sorry. Damn, I'm sorry for that. I didn't know I said that and it hurt your feelings. But when you have accountability and you put it on the forefront, accountability is a religion of the radio station.
Right.
People are like, oh, what are you talking about accountability? What are you trying to say? I'm not accountable. No, I'm saying the way you handled this was wrong. Right. And these are your options to fix it. First, you have to talk to the people. You have to communicate to the people. If you're not communicating to the people, then who are you communicating to? You're only worried about yourself, your money, your checks, and everything I need you to get out of my way.
Right.
We're trying to fix a community right now. We're not trying to hold it.
And you're
down.
right. And with that, accountability is a huge step in the right direction. And that's even with running the organization, even being in an executive position. You have to make sure your people are accountable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I went to a nonviolent seminar. So it was be all these families He put it out on Facebook. The guy has like 5,000 followers in Philly. He put it out that he wanted to talk to the neighborhood, the people, about the violence. Show up.
10 people.
10 people. 10 people. And that was the people that knew the other people.
Right.
So everybody knew each other,
Right.
you know, so it really wasn't, you know, the organic outrage wasn't there.
No,
right?
the organic outrage is very seldomly there if it's not, you know, it's not a post that's making fun of something or doing
Right.
something that's bringing comedy, right? People
Right.
don't really want to attend and be held accountable.
Right.
Who signs up for that? I wouldn't have.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
When I was running the
Right.
streets, he being accountable. I ain't got time for
Right.
that. You feel me? I'm
Yeah.
not trying to. But, you know, those 10 people are capable of being held accountable. Hopefully they can reach out to someone else. It's about taking the energy and the conversation that I have with you,
Yeah.
and taking that to the next person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And saying,
Yeah,
listen,
definitely.
man, this is what we talked about. You think you can be down with that? You think you can join that? You feel me? And if we're not out there being like Jesus and
Right.
talking to people and communicating like Muhammad and saying the things that we should be saying, you feel me? Then
Right.
we'll never
go.
understand any peace in our situation. And literally, you can't do it by yourself. So the fact that Blexit has 41 chapters, the fact that you span the multiverse of the community of America.
Right.
You feel me? You talk about Alaska, right? How different is the community in Alaska from
Yeah.
the community in Chester? How different is the community in Delaware from the community? Like, if we're not talking about those differences, then we'll never understand them.
No, you're right about that.
So yeah, I wanna know how can people get involved with Blexit, man? Like literally, who can they call? Who can they jump on? What website? Because we ain't even get a website, so I'm gonna get a website.
Yeah, definitely. So again, Blexit's website is blexitfoundation.org. So with Delaware's chapter, if you're on Instagram or Twitter, it is BLEXITDE. That's our handle. Our email address is delaware@blexit.com.
Yeah.
What about you in Pennsylvania?
Well, for that website alone, it'll put you directly connected to the chapter that you want to join. So once you hit PA, if you live in PA, and if you live in Delaware, you can go to that state which is on the menu, and you can choose it that way. And even if you see us even on Facebook, we have like Facebook groups. So if you go to Blexit PA, we have our own Facebook group, and you can subscribe that way, and give your email address, and we'll give you email, our newsletter.
So it's just the blexitfoundation.org.
Yes, and that'll give you all the information that you need to know about Blexit and how to join.
Yep.
I think this is a dope situation. I want to thank y'all for stopping through, man. Any last words? Anything you want to say to the people?
You can go first.
Yeah, I mean, just the last word I guess I have for anyone that's listening to this. Again, if you are aware of things going on, if you're awakened, if God, has called you out in this time to be an example, to be bold, to not fear, the people that are around you. Again, as I said earlier, Jesus himself. So again, the mouthpiece of God had said, do not fear men who can only destroy the body, but destroy him who destroys both body and soul in hell alone.
Right.
So I think that is just really, really telling. It woke me up by hopefully that encourages anyone who's listening to that.
I learned that
This.
Brandon's a low-key preacher.
Right.
You gotta
It's what
lay
God has
hands.
done for me, though, for
Amen.
Like, literally, you have a testimony,
Yes.
right? And you can't have a testimony without receiving a couple tests.
Yeah.
And yeah, you might have more tests than someone else, but that doesn't mean your testimony isn't worth sharing.
Right.
It doesn't mean you can't speak on it and say, the joys that you found from your creator.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I really see religion as a personal journey. You shouldn't be trying to convert me. You should just be telling
Right.
me what you understand about religion.
Absolutely.
And allow me to find my way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I offer to everybody, man.
And can I pick up on that real quick, too, as a final comment? So it's interesting because I realized even with myself, like the specific things I'd gone through in my life, whether it be willful choices and also things that weren't my choice, but it was the stuff I'd gone through. And similar to Candace Owens, I think at one point she had said, I think she had a convocation at Liberty University back in like 2018, but she was like, I would not imagine anyone else but someone like me be formed by God for times such as this. And I think, again, all of us, because we are uniquely formed and known, I think of someone with, like me, with the things I've gone through, who else could talk about these things, especially like in Delaware? Like, we literally have a bill that's on the table, a House bill, with trying to amend the Delaware Constitution by adding, and hopefully everyone listening to this, they're not offended, don't take it the wrong way, but they want to add sexual orientation, gender identity as an immutable trait. But at the same time, it's like the world and culture says that sexuality and gender are fluid. So how are you going to protect something that's fluid as non-fluid? And like for me, it's like literally I've been Black all my life. I whatever with sexuality stuff, it's not for me. So it's just weird. So I'm someone that I was willing to hear the truth, whether I liked it or not, and I'm able to just step up and speak against those things, but do it in love. So I do think our testimonies are valid. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well, first I want to last before I get out here. I wanted to bring my nephew over here. He's like a junior member of Blexit, Christopher. Christopher comes out and volunteers with us, and I think it's important that your kids. I bring my son out. My family members, their younger kids out to volunteer, just so they can get to the spirit of volunteering, of selfless service.
Absolutely.
Right now, we live in a day and age where everyone wants to be seen on the gram,
Right.
taking selfies, duck face, doing a TikTok dance. And there's nothing about service. There's nothing about helping people. And, everyone wants to be an influencer. And, you need to influence, by action.
Absolutely.
Your people, your family, your community needs you. So I really hope that resonates with some of the young people when they see us out there working and volunteering, because we're going into the culture of look at me instead of this is what I'm doing, this is what we're doing for our people, for our community. Right. So the message that I want to leave for you guys with Blexit is, we're about love, we're about family. That was like a big word that everyone kept using when all these people came from all over the country and we met each other. Everybody met each other with love, and everybody was just talking about how big of a family and community it is. And we're a community-based organization, and we just want to help you guys and help us help you.
I think that's dope, man. Again, like I said, I didn't know a lot about Blexit before. Mm-hmm. You hit me up and asked me for the interview, and I was like, all right, absolutely. Like, can you make it at this time, right? Yeah. I feel like the more information we have, the more information we can give out, the more information we can decipher and understand what's for us, right? Yes. What should work for us. So I think this was a dope conversation, man. I thank y'all for your time, man. Any way that I can help y'all out, I'm here for it.
Yes. Appreciate you opening the doors, and you always been that way. I appreciate you 100%. And like I said to you before, anything that we can do as an organization, if you see anything that you think that Blexit could help out with, because remember, we're a 501(c)(3) organization where we're actually out there to help you. We're actually here to do the work. So we have a monthly budget. We actually have resources that we can, and that's one of the great things about, I said it earlier, it's like we have resources. We can actually, go out and give kids toys, give kids book bags. Like, I had to raise the money. Right. It was like, that was money that I had raised up from people. And I'm like, it's an organization that already has the funds allocated to help the community. We need that. Let's go and bring that in here. Yep. So, I really thank you so much for doing this, because this was like the last minute too. It was like within a week. It was in a week.
Right, but I make it happen.
I was like, look at God.
Right, look at God, man.
Right. So thank you so much for that.
No problem at all, man. Brandon, it was a pleasure meeting you, bro.
Likewise.
I want you to keep on your path, right? Understand who you are. You understand what I'm saying? And do what you can do. Anton, you already know.
Yeah.
You feel me? Let's get it done, man. Here at cmpradio.net, man, it's your boy Uncle P. Listen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you didn't tune in and you're catching this pre-recorded, man, thank you again. Make sure you hit up Blexit right there, right? BlexitFoundation.org. Hit them up. See how you can become a part of the change that they're driving down the street, right? Become a part of it, help it out, You feel me? If you're a faith-based organization and you want to help them out, hit them up. And listen, nothing happens without something happening. I don't care how small the happening is. It can create something big and transformable for our community. We need everybody on deck. We need everybody fighting like they care. It's CMPRadio.net. It's your boy, Uncle P. You already know I'm the community optimist, man. I see the best out of the worst situations. I'm going to tell you how I feel whenever I feel it. I don't care who don't like it. It's CMPRadio.net, man. We're out of here. Peace.